some of those calls out from the ground or from Matt Dominic, the commander of Crew Dragon Endeavor, as they come out of this blackout period. But again, we're continuing to get great views of Crew-8 as they are re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Again, standing by to regain those communications, expecting that in about a minute or so.
Dragon SpaceX, comm check.
Loud and clear, Alice.
We have you the same.
Great news there. Communication blackout period over. We heard the voice of Commander Matthew Dominic. Now coming up at 12:25 a.m. Eastern, or excuse me, Pacific, 3:25 a.m. Eastern, we will deploy the drogue parachutes. Now, frame of reference, prior to the period, coming through the Earth's atmosphere.
Dragon is on GPS. Expect automated chute deployment at nominal altitude.
Dragon copy.
All right, just a call out there, letting the crew know how Dragon is calculating the when and how to release the parachute. So the drogue chutes are going to come out first. There are 2 of them. This occurs around when the capsule is going about 350 miles per hour or so, roughly about there. Those will deploy, and then about a minute or 2 later, the main parachutes, about a minute later, the main parachutes will deploy, and that at that point in time, the capsule will be going about 120 or so miles per hour. So those drogue parachutes do quite a bit of work as well to help stabilize and slow the Dragon capsule down. So standing by now for deployment of the drogue parachutes.
Brace for drogue window.
Dragon bracing.
And this view again is from the WB-57. That's one of our high altitude planes as it continues to track Dragon ahead of those drogue parachutes being deployed. And shortly after that, we'll see the main parachutes deployed. But we'll stand by for those drogues to go ahead and get deployed. We are hearing that Dragon has good pitch and yaw stability, so everything continuing to go really smoothly, targeting that splashdown at 12:29 a.m. Pacific time, so just about 4 minutes or so from now.
Once again, there we can see that the drogue parachutes, thanks to that WB-57 views, drogues are deployed. We can see 2 good-looking drogues. Oh, this is a great view from inside the parachute bay where those drogue parachutes...
Drogue chute descent rate nominal.
Next,
Dragon copies.
those drogue chutes will next pull out the main parachutes, and we'll see those 4 main parachutes open and inflate. Once again, Dragon we can see deployment there of the 4 main parachutes. Dragon is doing this autonomously, releasing each set of parachutes. We can now see those 4 main parachutes begin to inflate.
Wow.
Pretty incredible to see how, as those main parachutes inflate, the capsule itself slows down even more significantly.
Main chute descent rate nominal.
Copy, nominal descent rate 1,000 meters.
Copy, 1,000.
We will continue to hear call-outs from Commander Matt Dominic of the distance from the water. Those parachutes really doing their job now, as you mentioned, Kate, starting to slow the spacecraft down even more and more. By the time the crew actually does splash down in the water, they'll be going about 15, 16 miles per hour. So those parachutes really taking on that air to slow down the spacecraft.
800 meters.
I want to see them get out of the ship.
Copy, 800.
I want to see them get out of the ship. This is incredible.
Like you said, Commander, Matt Dominic will continue to report altitude every 200 meters. So we just heard the 800 meter call out.
And we also heard that the descent rate was nominal or as expected. Another good call.
100 meters.
A good call out there.
Copy, 600.
Elon Musk did this. Elon
Continuing
Musk
to get great
did
views from the
this.
WB-57 as Crew-8 is nearing splashdown.
400 meters.
Copy, 400.
Meters, bracing.
Copy, 200 and embraced.
At this point in time, the seats in Dragon have rotated a little bit to help provide a more comfortable and safer bodily orientation for the crew members as they come closer to splashdown. Like we said before, the capsule's going about 15 or 16 miles per hour.
Whoa, splashdown!
And
Woo! Yes! Yes! Elon Musk did this.
And Endeavor, we see the same. On behalf
Elon
of
Musk
SpaceX,
did
welcome
this.
home.
Real life Tony Stark Elon Musk.
And as you can see on your screen, we do
Whoa.
have visual confirmation.
Teams, what an incredible ride.
Where were you on October 25th? At 2:25
Again, we do have visual
a.m.?
confirmation of Crew-8 successfully splashing down after 235 days in space. They
Yes!
are now back on Earth. Dragon Endeavor has returned home, and NASA astronauts
victory
Matt
for
Dominic,
humanity.
Mike Barrett, and Jeanette Epps, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gurbankin are back on Earth after an approximately 34-hour return journey from space.
As you can see, SpaceX recovery ship and team have been waiting for Dragon splashdown, and they're now making their way to the splashdown location. Teams have been ready and waiting about 3 nautical miles away, so it's going to take about 30 minutes for them to make their way to Matthew, Michael, Jeanette, and Alexander.
30
They're
minutes.
inside Dragon. We can see there the recovery lights shining some light onto the Dragon capsule. Now, immediately after splashdown, the Dragon capsule automatically cuts the lines.
Dragon, we share water. Operating flight control state.
SpaceX copies, we see the same.
So that was just Commander Matt Dominic reporting the orientation in which Dragon is now in, which
Wow.
we see there on your screen. Like I mentioned before,
came from
the
space.
Dragon capsule automatically cuts.
SpaceX, we stable 1.
Cuts the parachute lines, right?
Copy and concur, stable 1.
Dragon automatically cuts the lines to the parachutes, so we will see some of the recovery team in the fast boats, which are now approaching the splashdown site. We'll see a couple of those boats divert over to where the parachutes landed as we will retrieve those from the water. We will also see a fast boat approach the Dragon capsule. That team is responsible for making sure that there are no remaining hypergolic residue on the capsule after it has spent significant time in space. Those hypergolic propellants are what are used to maneuver Dragon on orbit, and they are toxic to people here on Earth. And so we want to make sure that The recovery team is safe, so we'll see that fast boat approach and perform initial safety checks to make sure there are no hypergolic residuals there on the exterior of the capsule. We'll then see that team begin to rig up the Dragon capsule with some fittings, some straps that will ultimately be utilized to lift the capsule on board our recovery vessel, Megan.
And we did have a good view there just a minute ago, and you can kind of see it here. The water is almost mirror-like. It's quite smooth. Very beautiful weather there off the coast of Pensacola for these recovery operations. So as you mentioned, they are going to begin to assess capsule safety. We do see some of those fast boats begin to approach, and they're going to do some of those sniff checks, make sure that everything is as expected before they continue with the operations of bringing Dragon closer to the recovery vessel and then eventually lifting it.
Pyrotechnics that are utilized to fire the parachutes at the appropriate time, so confirmation that those have been saved. And we also heard PMC, that stands for Private Medical Conference, and that is an opportunity to speak with the flight surgeon and to give a rundown on how the crew is feeling. As we mentioned earlier, we have 3 spaceflight rookies, although they're not rookies anymore now that they're back on Earth, and 1 veteran. So Michael Barrett, this is he has now completed 4 space flights. So it's a good opportunity even for everyone to check in with the surgeon and let them know how they're feeling. And of course, that is private. Now, we did get that all clear for full approach. So like I said, that you can see that the team beginning to rig up the spacecraft for the recovery by the recovery ship. That second fast boat, which we see coming in and out of screen, is responsible for parachute recovery and also serves as a redundant boat to the first fast boat.
Some of that cool weather back home to Houston for us both, and I hope you get the chance to see your dolphin too.
Safety checks to make sure that they're
And we are really starting to see kind of that toasted marshmallow effect.
With this operation, so you'll see the crew members helped out of the spacecraft by one by one and assisted with the few feet to the medical quarters on board the boat. So nominal procedure is to open the hatch, do a quick thumbs up check with the crew inside, help them egress one by one, and they will then go into the medical quarters directly after egress to have their first in-person medical conference with the flight surgeons on board. So that will happen for all 4 crew members. Now, something you see there on the right-hand side of the egress platform, it is a rounded square. It's that white structure there off to the side. That is a piece of protective equipment that we will install once the side hatch is open. That will help protect the edges of the side hatch, help protect the seal, and also help protect the spacesuits and the crew members as they egress from the capsule. Now, the crew will keep their helmets on, but they will flip their visors up.
Side hatch opening in progress. Dragon.
All right, so we got the all clear from those safety checks, and we can see now that the crew has untorqued the side hatch. We see that being lifted. We can see that protective piece being put in place. Once again, nominal procedure is for each crew member to be assisted as they egress from the capsule.
And we'll also see those footrests be removed as well once we get a little further in this procedure. Once they get that protective cover installed, that just helps give a little more room as they help to bring the crew members out.
Yeah. As you can see, even folks that haven't spent 8 months in space need assistance getting out of the capsule.
Yes, and again, you will see the crew be assisted out of the spacecraft and have some folks around them. This is common for all of our landings, as well as for the Soyuz. If you've ever watched one of our broadcasts on that, we do assist the crew as they come out of any spacecraft following their space flight.
We can see the onboard photographer getting some snapshots. I have a feeling there may have been 4 thumbs up there inside the capsule at one point. Or maybe there will be now. It's also a great view. We can really see the details
This is
in
the number
thermal
one
protection system
news
and that evidence
in
of
America,
reentry.
okay? In the
So as we
world.
mentioned before, the exterior of the capsule
Number one
at
news in the
liftoff and while the capsule was on orbit was a nice white, and we can now see that discoloration reflecting the patterns of heat that the capsule experienced during re-entry. As we mentioned, the exterior temperatures can reach up to 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit as that plasma builds up. So I always love seeing how the Dragon astronaut return.
Oh, look, they can't walk.
And it looks
because
like we
they've
are
been in
starting to
space.
see the
at
first
that.
crew member be extracted.
carried out.
I'm not sure if that will be Commander Matt Dominic or Mike Barrett, but it is typically one of those middle seats because they're easiest to reach. So again, you do see that crew member getting some assistance. I can't quite tell who it is just yet.
Look, they need physical therapy. Oh my god.
I can only imagine what it feels like to have to stand up after spending nearly 8 months in space and having to stand up for the first time with Earth's gravity.
And that is NASA astronaut Matt Dominic, who is now out of the spacecraft. His very first space flight. Looks like we're getting some handshakes there.
High fives all around.
Where's Boeing? Where's Boeing? Elon Musk saved Boeing's astronaut. Wow.
For those that
Wow,
have
that's
just
incredible.
recently joined us, you can see that the Dragon capsule carrying our Crew-8 members has successfully splashed down and been recovered from the splashdown site off the coast of Pensacola, Florida. We have just seen the egress or exit of Commander Matt Dominic, who was seated in one of the 2 center seats. We can see, so we're standing by for the egress of the other 3 crew members. And on your screen there, some of the recovery team and NASA folks there assisting with the egress. As we mentioned, we, just standard protocol, we always help individuals coming back from long duration spaceflight. We always help them, give them some assistance back to the medical base. So I can only imagine that it feels like seated in the center seats, so the pilot and commander. It's pretty
They're gonna
normal
take
to
out the
have
girl
them
now. I
egress
think this is the
first,
girl.
as it helps give a little bit more working room there within the capsule for the crew members and the recovery team members.
And I do believe that is NASA astronaut Jeanette Epps, who is next out. Yep, Jeanette Epps was the next one out. So Alexander Gerbankin will be next. Again, this was her first space flight. Some quick waves.
Round of applause.
So there we go. That happened like at 2 a.m. this morning. Now, it's incredible that Elon Musk saved those two astronauts. And we saw those two astronauts get out. We didn't see the other four. I believe this ship was carrying seven or six or seven astronauts in it. So incredible. Okay? Incredible. Wow. We're living in a new space race. And Elon Musk is going to really map out the road, right, from here to Mars and from here to Europa. And that's gonna unlock not even a trillion or quadrillion dollar. It's gonna unlock something more than a sextillion dollar economy. A sextillion dollar economy is going to be unlocked because of this. So welcome to the new, you know how they say the industrial age, or, well, this is going to be the space age, okay?